the next Muslim in here. Welcome, Gens.
Gens, Muslim, and Gen Z.
Gen Z. Okay, sorry about that.
Hello, Michael. Let me just say it's good to finally meet you. And I used to watch your videos on Instagram, and I do just obviously disagree with you on Islam. I do agree with you, like when you criticize atheism, and you do make some pretty good points there. So yeah, I'm ready to have a very you could say respectful discussion. I don't want to argue with you. I just want to have a discussion. I just want to understand each other's perspective. And yeah, let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's go for it. Dr. Sijawati is here. Yeah. There's a topic he wanted to get into, so I was going to let him ask a question specifically, and then we'll all talk. So let's do that, and then after he asks his question, you go through that. Then you can ask me a question.
Okay.
Yeah. So thanks. Great to meet you. So my question is: have you heard of the Pan-Abrahamic problem?
Well, I know that there's 3 Abrahamic religions, obviously.
Yeah, but there's a specific problem called the Pan-Abrahamic problem, and I'll unpack that a little bit more as we sort of go through the questioning. But I'll ask you just another question. So let's say that you had, let's say that you were part of a community, let's say a Christian, and let's say that we're following a revelation, and we're following a person who isn't actually Jesus. Would you still stay within that religion, or would you try and find the real Jesus?
Well, I would say that Jesus was given the original Injil, but over time, like there have been, different versions of the Bible, and many different groups have tried. They say that they have like their own version of him, such as Mormonism, and they see something completely different about him. But Islam affirms that Jesus is, well, he has elevated status as a prophet. He is a servant of God, similar to Moses and all these other people. So
So I mean, my question was a little bit different. So I'll just make it a little bit more clear and simpler. So let's say that I am following a specific religion. Let's not talk about Christianity now, but I'm following a specific religion, and I find out that actually the religion that I believe that I was following isn't actually that religion. I've been following a different one. What would I do in that situation, or what would you do in that situation?
Well, I think I'm actually a convert to Islam, and so I was brought up in a religious Christian family, and so I was always taught that Jesus was the Son, and that he came to the world and in the form of a person. But again, we don't have any surviving versions of the Injil today, and there have been.
1 second, sorry to interrupt you. No, I just don't, because I know we don't have a lot of time. That's not actually my question. My question is just stay at the general level with my example. If you're part of a religion, so leave Christianity out of the picture, leave Islam out of the picture just for now. If you're part of a religion and you're brought up in this religion, you were praying, you were following it, whatever the religion is, but then you found out one day that actually this wasn't the religion that you thought you were following. You were actually, the religion that you thought that you were following doesn't exist anymore. What would you do?
Oh boy!
Would you give up that religion that you were holding to?
Well, I'd probably do some studying. And so I think the reason why I was bringing up my conversion was it was actually an analogy in response to that question. So again, I was brought up in a practicing Christian family. And again, I was always taught the Trinity, and, that he was the Son. And so is that Jesus originally preached absolute monotheism, but it's certainly possible that his works got lost in corruption as time advanced, which is why there's the RSV, the New Catholic Bible. And I guess the Quran sort of acts as the reformer to that, and as well as confirms the works of all the other prophets, and says they are all preaching monotheism, Jesus included. So
yeah. So what I'm getting from what you're saying is that you left Christianity because you weren't really following the real Jesus.
No.
Yeah.
Well, again, we don't have any surviving versions of the original Injil given to Jesus, and that. Also, not to mention the names Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were only given
Okay, one second. I know. Sorry for interrupting you. I just don't want us to put too much stuff in there when we're actually trying to just be led down a certain path. So just to understand what you're saying, you said you were giving an analogy to answer my question.
Yes.
I was saying, for example, if I was following a religion that I actually thought was a certain way, and then all of a sudden I discover actually that person that I'm following is not that person, it's someone else. I'm following a different religion than what I actually believed. I would stop holding to that religion. And so I can see in sort of your conversion, you're saying that you saw that with Christianity, you thought that Jesus preached the Trinity, you thought you believed this, but then you found out that actually he didn't. And so then you adopted another faith. Now, what I want to say to you is you actually have this problem as a Muslim, because the pan-Abrahamic problem, which I brought up at the beginning, is a problem which you really need to think about. And a lot of Muslims don't know about it, but it's something which, through my own writing, I've tried to sort of expose. And so just in a very piecemeal fashion, the pan-Abrahamic problem says that Prophet Muhammad, okay, when he was preaching the religion of Islam, which started from 570 up until 630 at his death, he actually was not preaching Islam as you understood it today. He was preaching an ecumenical form of Islam, where he was allowing Christians, Jews, and his followers, which we call Muslims, to all come under this one umbrella. And how we see this in the Quran is, as what we were saying with the previous caller, in chapter 5, Allah actually promises salvation, not just to Muslims, but he promises to those who are Jews, to the Sabians, and also to the Christians.
Okay, I would like to just go ahead and address some of the things you said there. So what I'm hearing about Surah 569, where like the Christians, the Jews, the Sabians, it's actually talking about people who lived prior to the Prophet Muhammad. And I was also going to say that people were called Muslim not by by we see what today, but it just means a submitter to God. And so the reason why people say Moses and Jesus were all Muslims was that they just believed in God and they trusted in him and put their faith in him. So that's a hell of a lot different than the Islam that the version of Islam believed today that Muhammad gave. And so
thank you for that. So, well, if you actually look at 568 and then you go to 569, it doesn't actually seem that he's addressing or he's speaking about those who were living before Muhammad. He's actually Muhammad is speaking. So I'll read 568 and then go to 569.
I already know the verse, so
I'll just read it for the audience. So, say, O Prophet, O people of the book, you have nothing to stand on unless you observe the Torah, the Gospel, and what has been revealed to you. Okay, so I'll just leave it at there, and then it goes down into 569. Indeed, the believers, Jews, Sabians, and Christians, whoever truly believes in Allah and the last day and does good, there will be no fear for them, nor will they grieve. So what we can see here is that it's a command that Muhammad is given to speak to those who are part of his community about, firstly, following the specific revelation, and then secondly, salvation being given to those who are part of the community, the believers, the Sabians, the Jews, and the Christians. Now, what I'm trying to say to you with the problem I'm trying to present to you is that the Islam that you are holding today is an exclusivist religion. Islam says that only if you follow the Quran, and this is the Islam of today, only if you follow the Quran will you have salvation given to you. But Muhammad did not preach that message. Muhammad preached the message that if you believe in Allah, you believe in the last day, and you believe in and perform good works, you will have salvation given to you. And that's what 569 is saying. 569 is saying, indeed, the believers, according to scholarship, were those who were the pagans who then converted based off of the preaching of Muhammad. So they were called the believers. So you had those who were ex-pagans who now had become followers of Muhammad. They're called the believers. You then had Jews, you then had Sabians, and you then had Christians. And then it says the criteria for those who are truly his followers are those who believe in Allah, the last day, and do good. There will be no fear for them, nor will they grieve. So what I'm trying to say to you is Muhammad preached an ecumenical movement, ecumenical religion, where Jews, Christians, Jews and Christians specifically were included within the community of the followers of Muhammad. But the religion that you hold today is an exclusivist religion. And so I'll just stop at that point for a second.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say the believer, what is commonly meant by believers in the Quran is the Muslims, because it says like those who believe and do good and give the zakat. It's talking specifically about people who are Muslim and who believe in the Shahada. That's what it's referring to.
Well, where does it say that in the Quran? Sorry.
Like Surah Al-Baqarah, it says like, and those who believe, it's somewhere in Surah Al-Baqarah. I'll find it for a minute there. Surah Al-Baqarah, let me find it. Come on. Oh, crud.
Why not? Well, you look for that. You found it? Okay.
Yeah. So it says, those who believe in the unseen and perform the prayers and give from what we have provided for them, and those who believe in what was revealed to you and what was revealed before you are certain of the hereafter, though these are upon guidance from their Lord. These are the successful.
Yeah, so that doesn't say the Muslim way of doing that. So Christians could have easily fulfilled that. Jews could have easily fulfilled what that is. So one thing you need to understand in the Quran, believer is the term that's referred to those who follow Allah amongst the community of Muhammad. It's the predominant term that's used for those instead of Muslim. You hardly ever see Muslim being used. It just means, as you said, submitter. So my whole point of what I'm trying to say is that you had Muhammad establish a community where Jews, Christians were following their religion, and they were able to have salvation given to them by Allah. That was something that you see throughout the Quran. But then your religion that you hold to today actually believes that no, you have to submit to Allah through the Quran. The Christian scriptures are not to be followed anymore, and salvation is only given to you if you become a Muslim. So the problem that you have, and I'm presenting to you as a philosophical problem, is that, and the way that you have to now sort of wrestle with this issue is that you can only say that your religion that you're following is the same as Muhammad's religion if you are also holding to the teachings that Muhammad upheld as well. So if Muhammad upheld the teaching that salvation is to be given to Jews, Christians, and all those who follow Muhammad, so long as they believe in those three criteria I spoke about, then you're going to have a problem because your religion of today doesn't actually preach that anymore.
I just want to say we also have Surah 262. Indeed, the believers, the Jews, Christians, and Sabians, whoever truly believes in Allah in the last day and does good, will have their reward with their Lord, and there will be no fear for